Welcome to Knife Chats. If you like this video, please take a moment to leave a comment. Thank you. You know what would be cool? If you took like an electrician knife, you know, the one that has that liner lock screwdriver, flathead screwdriver with the sharp edge there, and then the Spearmaster blade that doesn't lock. But instead of having the Spearmaster blade, take like the ram's head or sheepfoot blade that you find on the small Klein Electrician and put it on the regular standard electrician knife. And you know what would really be cool? If you went and put it on a Barlow frame. Wouldn't that be kind of interesting? Wow, I wonder why no one ever did that. It would be just so cool. An electrician knife on a Barlow frame. Yeah, you got to ask yourself, why didn't a knife company ever do that? And strangely enough, a knife company didn't do it, but an electrical supply wholesaler did it by the name of Ric Nor. Ric Nor was an electrical supply wholesaler. They made equipment for the electrical industry, for repair guys and all that other stuff, and sold it in the different hardware stores and other places where you would go to buy electrical supplies. And they were in Massachusetts, so they mainly were selling up in the Northeast. And the knife they came out with was the Electric Mate. Now, they did not make the knife. It was actually made by the Providence Cutlery Company in Rhode Island, in Providence, Rhode Island. They were known for making low-cost, budget-type knives. And the Electric Mate was the knife that they made for Ric Nor. And Electric Mate is a trademark of Ric Nor. Ric Nor, unfortunately, went out of business way back in 1966. So we can easily date these knives to before 1966. We also know that they were primarily made in the 1950s and 1960s. As far as I know, the only people making this type of knife was the Providence Cutlery Company, and the only people they were making it for was Ric Nor, which is really kind of strange because it's really kind of a pretty cool knife. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, Providence Cutlery Company basically made budget knives, so the finish on these knives is crude at best. I mean, seriously, the best thing going for it is the bolster, the Electric Mate bolster. Let me see if I can get the light a little bit better without knocking anything over. See that Electric Mate? But there's definitely nothing is evened up on here. In fact, on one of these knives, I actually had to smooth down one of the back springs because it was so far out of line. But it's better now. Handles are just a hard plastic. They've been riveted in place. You've got a removable bail. Looks like to be copper or brass on this one. The other ones seem to be like a nickel silver. Yeah, the later ones, or maybe the earlier ones, seem to use what looks like copper, but it could also be just copper tone metal. But it looks pretty cool that way. Got brass liners in it, which is good, and you've got, notice the brass liner lock for your flathead screwdriver. And this is a little sharp. It could be sharper. You've got your wire stripper there, and I believe this is also used as a wire stripper here too. As for the bolster, if you can see at the top here, it's just clipped over there. So they're just snapped on and clipped in place. Back springs are either going to be stainless steel or carbon steel, just as the blades, depending on which one you get, are going to be carbon steel or stainless steel. Could be a 1080 or a 1095 carbon steel on this. The older ones are a little bit heavier and a little bit nicer. These are with the carbon steel. You notice it's got the saw cut into the hard plastic. Got the half stop on the main blade and rocks around. This one has been sharpened, and pretty dang sharp too. And the liner lock in this one, a little loose. It's an older one. This is probably from the 50s. Both of these are later ones from the 60s, I believe, and they feature stainless steel blades. You still got the half stop, so anyone who goes around saying that a half stop is a sign of a better quality knife, not really. It's just a feature that you see on knives. Some people prefer a half stop. Some people prefer it to be a kind of a lazy half stop at the top, where it will lose all tension at the top, but there's not a solid half stop. And that is simply done by the way you end up cutting the back of the tang here on the knives. But you see here, you've got the hawkbill blade, or the, not hawkbill, I'm sorry, you could say sheepfoot, but it's really more of a ram's foot blade, because the top is wider than the bottom, but a straight edge on the back, on the blade itself. So very similar to what you see on the little Klein Easy Out Electrician knives. But you've got that secondary blade on there, which is just so totally cool. And it is built on a Barlow frame. I mean, look at the size compared to this Camillus Barlow. Just about the same size, about an 1/8 inch shorter than the Camillus Barlow. And because it's got that Barlow frame, you've got the really cool etch into the bolster of the Barlow, and it is repeated on both sides because it is the same bolster on both sides. Notice electric mate here appears to be upside down according to the blade. Electric mate here, right side up according to the blade. And that's because they just flip it over and bolt it in place, or snap it in place. So there you have it. The Ric Nor electric mate. These things are so cool, and I just don't understand why somebody isn't coming out with it today also. This knife, I think, would sell really great if like Rough Rider, or even if Case was to come out with a new version of it, and finish it up right. Do a better job on finishing it, make it a more polished knife, like the Camillus Barlow here. Put on a better handle, maybe even go with bone or stag on this, but keep that really cool electric mate or something of that vein in that Barlow top. And then these two blades, who would not want like a Rough Rider electric mate, or a Case electric mate, or a Schrade electric mate? These things would, I think they would sell pretty well. And it's basically, just an electrician knife on a Barlow frame with a removable bail. But still, I really dig this thing. And somebody out there, a friend of mine, is going to be getting one of these. He doesn't know it yet, but it's going to happen. Anyway, there you have it. The Electric Mate by Ric Nor. Man, that sounds like some kind of a professional wrestler. Ric Nor, the Electric Mate. Let me go over the basic specifications for the electric mate. First of all, the older carbon steel ones are slightly heavier, but it's really negligible. I don't even know how I noticed it when I was picking it up. The carbon steel ones are 2.33 ounces or 66.2 grams versus the stainless steel ones, which are 2.32 ounces or 65.8 grams. So it must have been purely psychological that I thought the carbon steel was heavier. As for the overall length, if you have the main blade extended, the ram's foot blade extended, it's 5 3/4 inches or 147 millimeters. Or if you pull out the screwdriver blade, it is 5 5/8 of an inch or 143 millimeters. The screwdriver blade is 2 1/4 inches long or 58 millimeters, and the ram's foot blade is 2 3/8 of an inches long or 62 millimeters. The cutting edge on the ram's foot blade is 2 1/8 inches or 55 millimeters. And your closed length on the electric mate is 3 1/8 inches or 80 millimeters with a bolster that is 1 1/8 inches or 30 millimeters. As for the detachable bail, that is 3/4 of an inch or 22 millimeters, but it only has a clearance of about a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters. And that's all your specifications on your electric mate. Hope you enjoyed the video and look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Knife Chats, and if you did, please like and share it with your friends. Comments are always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode of Knife Chats is up online. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon.